Hey guys, welcome back to the JPM Performance channel. It is once again time for a shop tour. It is November 17th, and here in Kansas, winter time is upon us. We actually even got a little bit of snow the other night. Just a little bit of a dusting, but it's in the 20s in the morning, teens and 20s in the morning. Got a little bit of snow. Fall is over. It is what it is. So let's get right into our shop tour. So I've been doing a lot of welding over the last week. I guess what we'll do is we'll start with Mark Weber's chassis. So as you can see, I've switched his chassis over to my main lift, and I'm in the middle of finishing up the floor drop. So getting this brace piece under the pan and then welding everything into the tunnel as well. So, and after that we will move on to the seam welding, work on the and then get ready to start the roll cage, get the plates in after the car's seam welded, and get the main hoop in so that we can start fitting Mark into the car when he comes to pay us a visit. Did get Doug Weaver's engine finished. So it's got that beautiful valve cover on it that I think really makes the engine look nice. So he is not going to be going racing until COTA. Some of you may or may not know, but he actually lives in Canada. And so he's going to come down on his way through to go to COTA in February. So we're going to be holding on to this car here for another 3 months. So I'm just going to kind of let the engine sit here while I get some of my other projects rocking and rolling, but we'll get him ready for COTA soon enough. In the meantime, Perry's track day car, completely seam welded. So seam welding, what is seam welding? Well, everywhere that you see the pieces of a unibody come together, this is a separate piece from this, and in the factory you can see these little weld spots, these little round things. Those are spot welds. Well, over time on a race car, those spot welds start to loosen up. So what we do is we go through and we seam weld the whole car. So you can see there's a lot of seam welding inside the car here in the main areas, through the tunnel, into the back, up in the front side of the tunnel, up into the cowl area, and then a ton of work underneath the car, as well as you can see, yet another drop floor installed that Perry wanted. So turned out really good. The more of these I do, the better I'm getting at them. But there's actually a ton of seam welding that went on up underneath the back here too. You can see it here along there. It's all up in the tunnel and everything underneath. So it's very time consuming to get done, but it's also very important in making a unibody chassis really, really strong. So all done with this one, moving on to Mark's. So a lot of welding going on in my life right now. You get it all. I'm not used to welding as much as I've been welding, and you get fumes and dirt, and you just go into the shower and blow it all out, and it's kind of nasty. I don't know how people that weld every day do it. But anyway, as you can see, we've got our spares pile sitting here, and the car is ready, and Bill Verdeen will be here literally any minute to pick up the car. So I'm hoping we actually get this in before he shows up. And but we're looking really good. He's got, any good race car program has a ton of spares. So I don't know exactly what's in these boxes, but I would imagine that there are spare calipers and rotors and hubs and brakes. I know that he's got PBS parts and pieces in this box, as well as his other differential. We've got a drive shaft and a radiator. Why do we have all these spares? Well, when you're at the racetrack that's 500 miles away, you don't want to have to turn around and go home because you don't have a spare. So Eric does a really good job on his spares package. So anyway, Bill will be here very shortly to pick the car up. BMW wise, actually looking really good. I got the cylinder head, I got the valves all relapped. The bottom end really didn't have any time on it, but I went ahead and disassembled the cylinder head, relapped the valves, got the head back on. Usually in the past, and any of you that have been following me know that in order to install the cams on this engine, the engine has to be turned sideways, literally, so you can get the cam caps, or the lifters into their, what is that thing even called that the lifters go into? Holds the lifters and then the cam's right on it, whatever it's called. The lifters will fall out. So I had this idea. Well, my first suggestion from a buddy of mine was to put the car on a rotisserie and rotate the whole car so that I can just put the caps on. Came up with a different idea. So in these motors, and I don't know, the lifters go up underneath this rail that the cam actually rides in. Well, the lifters just fall out. I came up with this magnetic strip from McMaster Car, and I laid this on top, and it literally held all of the lifters up into the bucket. If you want to see more about that, there's going to be a video coming down the pipe here, hopefully sooner rather than later, a week or two. You can see exactly the technique that I used to do that. So kind of an interesting thing on that. So now I just have to put in the intake cam. I already have the exhaust cam in, and I'm working on my 15 minutes a day, guys, every day, rocking and rolling, getting things done, parts cleaned up. Next thing you know, I'll have this car running in no time. So looking really good. Did get another core engine in, you can see here. This is, I would call this in between what I think is okay and not okay to ship an engine. At least it's not laying on its side, and it does have some mounts going to it. Here's the problem. Guys that freight ship your engines are running around with forklifts. One guy's running around with a forklift, and he makes a mistake, and he runs into this engine right here and breaks something like a cylinder head or a casting on a block. It's ruined, right? So if you're going to do something like this, I like the framework, but at least get some plywood out and make a framework and enclose this thing so you have a little bit of a buffer zone. So this is just a core that came in better than some of them that I've seen, not as good as some of the others. So that's where we're at here. That's where we're at, guys. So I've had a couple of street cars coming and going this week. Got a lot of welding to do. Next week we should see a lot of progress on Mark Weber's chassis. I should probably call him and see when he wants to come pay me a visit. And lots of engines going on still to be disassembled and everything else. So I hope you guys have all gotten your hoodies this week. I know I got mine, and it looks really good. I hope that keeps everybody warm, and I appreciate you guys spreading the love of JPM and watching all of these videos and hopefully learning. I'm still getting lots of good comments here and there on different things, so I appreciate that, guys. Keep warm, and I'll see you real soon. Take care.